Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another book review. So today's book review is going to be over Monster Girl Haven, written by Jamie Hawke and Chase Danger. This is published by Double Down Press, who actually, I don't know who they are, but they publish some of Jamie's books, and they do a pretty good job. So yeah, anyway, the genre is harem-lit. I would call it military action, suspense, thriller type of things. I was going to call it military sci-fi, but the cool aspect of it, the genre fiction aspect, is really more magic-based than science-based, so it's more of a military fantasy, I guess. But the defining feature is that it's harem-lit. And yeah, so the premise here is that, war vet turned mercenary by the name of Greg Hatter is tasked with finding the key to immortality as part of one of his mercenary missions, because this old guy, very similar to like the old guy from Jurassic Park, wants to find it. And then along the way, he must save his employer and then get rid of the invaders of this place where they're supposed to find the key to immortality. So it's a really cool story. It's really fun. It's really well done. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, so we're just going to jump into it now. The plot line here, it's rather good. It's really enjoyable. The action is well paced. It's good. The feeling of adventure is there. And everything is really, just well done, really great. There is a few problems with it when I read the first version, because I kind of beta read this, I guess. That would be the right term. And then, I gave some feedback, and then they fixed it for the published version, which I read again to make sure that, I knew what was going on. And, yeah, everything is really good. It's really interesting. There's tensions, and the stakes are high. You feel, concerned. Or it's like, are they gonna die? Is something happening? What's going on? Everything is definitely there. It's very good. Kind of akin to, those cool, like, action movies. Not necessarily Rambo, but, like, similar to Rambo. Or, like, the actiony bits of Jurassic Park, stuff like that. Pretty cool. The suspense is not necessarily that high. You're never like truly scared, unsure about what's gonna happen. The main character is a really capable guy. The bad guys are they're capable enough, but they're clearly less capable than our main character. So you're never feeling like the suspense is really that, like, high, or at least not personally. But the tensions and the stakes of what, the characters are going through are definitely high. So it's a little, like, hard to describe, I guess. But hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Now, the basic plot elements here, the basic sections of plot that we can find are the initial setup, arrival onto the island, shit goes bad, and then surviving initially, and then fighting back, and then, set up for the next book. And that's kind of what happens without giving any spoilers, and each section is really well done. I do enjoy it, and it actually kind of reminds me of, if you guys ever read the comic book Green Arrow Year 1, it's the one where, Oliver Queen gets stuck on an island, kind of like the TV show, and he gets training, and then, like, has to fight the bad guys off the island. That kind of situation is pretty reminiscent to what happened in this book. It's really interesting, really well done. Yeah, I didn't have any problems with it once, with the published version. It's really well done. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't flow the same way as the other Jamie Hawke books I've read, and so I assume that that's because Chase Danger was, equally involved with the writing process. And so it does feel a little bit different. So it's kind of interesting if you're a Jamie Hawke fan to read this and kind of see the differences. I think it's really well done. It's cool. But yeah, that's basically it for the plotline. Pretty, standard stuff. Pretty well done. Nothing wrong with it. I really enjoyed myself reading this. Now, the characters here are pretty interesting as well. They're good. We basically have 5 characters, more or less. We have Mr. Matthew Centralia, who is like the kooky old guy that everyone thinks is kind of psycho, but like he tends to be right. Very similar to, the guy that was like the old dude from Jurassic Park, like the first movie. I can't remember his name, but similar to that guy. Like, they're kind of like a little bit in the, like, messed up in the head, but they have enough money and enough brains to make it work, which is cool. Then we have Greg Hatter, the main character. Like I said, he's a vet. He is now a mercenary. He's in his 40s, which is interesting. Most harem-lit characters tend to be on the younger side of things, between the 20 to 30 year age. So someone that's definitely older, 45, is really interesting. Plus, with the whole immortality thing, it kind of fits. Gods tend to be portrayed slightly older, especially male gods tend to be portrayed slightly older than what you would assume is their like human prime. But it still works for them. And, it's really well done. Greg Hatter has a great head on his shoulders. He knows what's going on. He's definitely military, like you can tell. He has this, like, sort of stereotypical roughness around him and, like, sense of duty and stuff like that, which is really fun, really well. It kind of contrasts really nicely with our main female character, Clara, who is Mr. Centralia's granddaughter, and she's a very spunky, vivacious, fun, easygoing girl. She also has a lot of innuendo that goes along with her personality. So it works well. It kind of sets the tone a little bit, and it's really fun seeing them interact. And that kind of like moment where they find their place with each other, because, given that she's the main female character, she's also one of the harem members. And it's kind of interesting. It works really well. I am very happy with the way they interact. Then we have 2 more harem members. We have Zoe, who is a harpy. She's on the cover, so it's not really a spoiler. And she's really cool as well. She's really interesting. She's like 2,500 years old. She used to be one of Zeus's consorts, I guess, or like one of his like sex partners. I'm not really sure what to call it. And she's also kind of like the person that we rely on for the world building, and it's really good, really well done. Really enjoy her character as well. And I like how calm she is compared to everyone else. It kind of works really nicely. Then the last one is Paris. I don't remember her name, like her first name, but her last name is Paris. Or Perez. It doesn't have an accent, so it's not Perez. It doesn't matter. And she's harem girl number 3. And I like her. One, she's a Latin American character, or I think she's Latin American. But I like her. One, because inclusion and diversity is, cool. I can, appreciate when Latin Americans get included into media that I enjoy. So it was nice. And I like her character as well, because where Clara is completely opposite from Hatter and Zoe is somewhere in between, Paris is the most similar to him, as she's also a military person. So the way that they interact is, more akin to friends that developed a relationship in battle, kind of. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but they all offer something different to Hatter and to each other, so it's really well done. I really enjoy it. And yeah. So yeah, cool / good character interactions. Nothing bad here. The characters feel all very clear. across the whole book, it's not difficult to see that the authors really took their time to make sure that they didn't swap voices for the characters, because sometimes when you're working with another, or when two authors work on the same book, the voices of the characters change. And so in this one, you don't really notice that, so it's really good because it shows that they really worked hard. So really well done on that part. And the world building here is good. I mean, there's not that much. All the gods are just ancient gods, and they don't ever make an appearance. Well, there is one, but he's not one of the Olympians or any of the meaningful big top dog gods. So it's kind of like a throwaway god, I guess. There's a lot of callbacks to Greek mythology. Mostly it's Greek mythology, but there's other gods all over the place, which is pretty cool. The way that the immortality is accessed is kind of interesting. It's a fruit instead of a fountain. I think it's really interesting. It's also cool that it's near Greece, which is why the Greek gods are so relevant. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know if they would tie it back to those old stories about Atlantis and El Dorado and stuff at a later point in a different book, or if there's going to be multiple islands and that each one of those was one of the islands or / places that kind of have to do with all of those myths of the Fountain of Youth and El Dorado and Atlantis and stuff like that, which it's interesting. I'm really interested. I'm really excited to see where things go in the next book. And yeah, not bad at all. So there's no art, sadly. I think it would have been cool to have at least 1 or 2 extra pieces of art, but given that it's harem-lit and it's published on Amazon, I understand why it's not likely that that's going to happen, but it would have been nice. Maybe if they ever do a Kickstarter or Indiegogo for the book, they might actually provide images on that one, but who knows, right? And now the fan service / smut. It's very good. It's well written. It's enjoyable. It was really well written. There was no problems with where the characters were at any given moment, which is something that I've seen that other authors struggle with, like the blocking of characters, where each character is in a specific scene. A lot of other authors kind of have a difficulty with that, or at least I have a difficulty understanding their wording of things. But with this book specifically, I had no issues. Everything was really clear. Nothing was confusing. I was never scratching my head mid-read with what the heck's happening here. So good job on that. I definitely recommend this. I think it's a very fun story. It's enjoyable. It kind of scratches that itch if you're looking for something similar to Indiana Jones, kind of close to Uncharted, or those early bits of Green Arrow, either the Year One comic book or the TV show. It's a really cool blockbuster-esque book, which is really cool. I mean, a lot of books tend to have less of that, so this is pretty nice. Yeah, but that's basically it. I would say that this falls under a 4.5 to a 5, but I think for the sake of proper here's a rating, I would call this a 5 out of 5. It was really enjoyable, really well done. There was no issues with it that were breaking of the enjoyment or anything like that. So overall, really nicely done. Jamie Hawke and Chase Danger really made a really nice book here. So yeah, that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and let me know what I should read next, or other titles by different harem-lit authors that you think are fun, that kind of are similar to this, because I really did enjoy this one. So something similar would be really cool. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.